for today.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this press briefing following the special meeting of the General Council. My name is Ismail Ejeng. I'm the Director of External Relations here at the WTO, and I'm pleased to be joined by the Chair of the General Council, Ambassador Peter Olberg, and of course the Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who has just been selected for a second term. So the Chair and the GC will say a few words at the top, and we'll be happy to take your question. Without further ado, I'll hand over to the Chair. Peter.
Thank you, Ismaila. So I'm happy to say that the General Council of the World Trade Organization has reappointed Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as Director General for a second 4-year term. The decision reflects widespread recognition of her exceptional leadership and strategic vision for the future of the WTO. So as you are aware, the reappointment process was initiated on October 8th. No additional nominations were submitted by the November 8th deadline, leaving Dr. Okonjo-Iweala as the sole candidate. I commend Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala for her outstanding leadership during her first term. Amid significant global economic challenges, she strengthened the WTO's ability to support its members and set a forward-looking agenda for the organization. Her leadership was instrumental in securing meaningful outcomes at the pivotal moments, including the 12th and 13th ministerial conferences, MC12 and MC13, where major milestones were reached. So the decision to reappoint Dr. Okonjo-Iweala reflects the members' confidence in her leadership and her vision for the WTO. This successful process reinforces the organization's ability to address global challenges effectively, as members show that they are focused on delivering results and getting the job done at the time when the world is grappling with major issues such as geopolitical tension, economic uncertainty, and climate challenges. It's fortunate that the WTO has a leader like Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who can help guide the organization to achieve these critical objectives when leadership is most needed. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Peter. DG.
Thank you, Ismaila. I think that the General Council Chair has said it all. All I have to say is that I'm grateful to the membership for the election to a second term. We have a full agenda to deliver for the people of this world that we are here working for and for the planet. And we fully intend to get to work immediately, no stopping, to try and deliver on these results. I'm grateful for the honor of serving this organization, for the trust that the membership has put in me. It's quite a burden, but I relish it and we look forward to working. And I'm also grateful to the staff of the organization, without whose dedication and hard work, we won't be able to make it. So that is what I'd like to say. Thank you for that honor, and let's get to work.
Thank you, DG. Now we'll open it up to questions. Jamie, AP, please state your name and your organization, please.
Hello, thank you. It's Jamie from Associated Press. Nice to see you again. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. I just wanted to ask you, as you know, President-elect Donald Trump has announced plans to impose tariffs on a number of countries once he takes office again. How concerned are you about that, and whether or not that could pose problems for the WTO, notably with the difficulties with the dispute settlement mechanism at the moment? And how concerned are you in general for the future of the WTO if he decides, like he has threatened in the past, to withdraw from the WTO?
Well, thank you very much for that question. Let me say that until we get specifics in terms of what is planned, I think it will be a bit premature to try to pronounce on these issues. We look forward to working with the administration. We are grateful to the administration we worked with now. We are looking forward to working with the new administration. I think we should come into things with a very constructive and creative approach to trying to deal with the issues that we face the world trading system. Of course, we would like to make sure that we don't have a situation in which we have any kind of trade disputes that are detrimental to the functioning of the world trade system. So that I think we can say. But beyond that, I think we should wait and for actual policies. So far, we have not seen that, and we're very much looking forward to working in a productive fashion. Thank you.
Thank you. Emma Faj, Reuters.
Congratulations, Dr. Ngozi. It's a follow-up to Jamie's. There's been a new appointment at USTR. It's Jameson Greer. He is obviously not Robert Lighthizer, but he's seen as an ally of his. Lighthizer has previously said that you are China's ally in Geneva. I wanted to ask if you could respond to that, but more broadly, the question is, how do you intend to support developing countries and be their champion, and at the same time avoid being subject to rebuke such as this? Thank you.
Well, first of all, let me just say that the appointment of Mr. Greer, we look forward to working with him. We would like to make sure we take a constructive and creative approach to trying to solve whatever issues. In responding to what you said, I'm an ally of everyone. WTO has 166 members, and I hope they all believe I'm their allies. So that's what I can say to you, and that I will work with each and every member. I think you heard what members have said. I think there were 75 interventions today across a very broad spectrum, from developing to developed countries. And each and every one of them said that they've been working with me and they look forward to doing that. So I look forward to being there as an ally to every member. We need to get members to work with each other and to talk to each other. And I think we've been achieving that at the WTO. So we hope to continue to do that. And I look very much forward to working with Mr. Greer.
Thank you, DG. Yes.
Hello, thanks for taking my question. It's Kasmira Jefford from Geneva Solutions, and congratulations, Dr. Ngozi. Where do you see opportunities or wins for the WTO in the coming years? What are some of those that you outlined to members? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And hopefully at some point, maybe we can share my remarks. But I see a few things. I think that the opportunities facing us to help fulfill some of the purpose of this organization, I always start with that. You know, in the preamble to the Marrakesh Agreement that created the WTO, it actually says that the purpose of the organization is to help enhance living standards. Please look it up. To help create jobs and to support sustainable development. And I started with that in my remarks yesterday, because to me, that's what made me excited to come here. It's all about serving people, and it was even a little bit ahead of its time in terms of support for sustainable development. This being said in 1994-95. You know, so with that as a core, the issue is, I think there are few opportunities out there. The first is supporting sustainable development supports developing countries, supports developed countries, because we are talking about an agreement that we've reached at the WTO on fishery subsidies and additional disciplines we're negotiating in the next round that will deliver the sustainability of our oceans and fisheries and phase out $22 billion in harmful subsidies. And we are arguing that those subsidies could be creatively repurposed as we look for additional monies to finance some other things like helping us to build up to a livable planet. So that's one area we can deliver for everybody. We are losing a lot of resources to illegal fishing, and this would stop all of that, and it would also replenish fisheries and our oceans. In other areas, agriculture, we talked about it yesterday, how to get a breakthrough. That would really help food security worldwide. 1 in 4 calories consumed is traded, meaning you cannot have deal with you cannot solve the problem of people going to bed hungry, 700 million of them without trade being involved. So we need a breakthrough in that. But beyond that, there are opportunities right now for the decentralization of supply chains to developing countries. And this is something I want to really focus on. We have a term which we describe as re-globalization. We foresee an opportunity to use this, what is happening now. You know, during the pandemic, we saw the vulnerabilities in concentration of some supply chains. Businesses are now saying we'd like to de-risk by decentralizing and deconcentrating our supply chains to build resilience. Well, this is an opportunity to decentralize and deconcentrate to developing countries that never had the opportunity to receive these supply chains. So you can manufacture pharmaceuticals in many more countries instead of being concentration in 10 countries in the world, which is what we found with vaccines. Deconcentrate and decentralize. That's an opportunity to some developing countries to create jobs, to add value, to increase their share of world trade. Critical minerals are now being found in many developing countries alongside clean energy. So if you are a developing country that has what we call a green comparative advantage, meaning you can produce clean energy, you can harness it to manufacturing and processing of these critical minerals, because some countries have that at the same time. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can help the world reap environmental gains because you're going to be using clean energy to process these minerals, which are also being, to which value are being added to produce the things like EV batteries that are needed to drive the world. You build resilience, you create jobs in place, you create, you lower emissions at the same time. And this is a win-win-win-win. You re-globalize the world whilst also helping to reap environmental gains. So I just mentioned 3 supply chains now: pharmaceuticals, green, hydrogen and clean, and renewables, and critical minerals, all of which are opportunities waiting for countries to harness from this. So I could spend all day talking about re-globalization because I think it's a huge opportunity for developing countries. Anyway, so long answer to your question, but that's where I see some of the opportunities to be seized for the future.
Thank you. Agnes, IFP.
Yes, sorry for my voice. Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Ngozi. Concerning the next trade ministerial in Cameroon, I know it's still ahead of time, but time goes quickly. What would you like countries to deliver on? What are your main focus? Thank you.
Well, of course, let me say that it will be up to members to decide what they want to focus on. So yesterday in my statement, I made some suggestions, which is that I think that we should, in Geneva, try to deal with the legacy issues. When I say that, I mean, let us try to conclude on those negotiations that have been pending for some time and leave only 1 or 2 files for the ministerial so that ministers can really focus their attention. The dispute settlement system, if we've not completed, should be something that at MC14 we should take. I'm not saying we should wait till we get there. I want us to do all the work beforehand so that ministers can bless an outcome there. Agriculture definitely need to make a breakthrough there because we're talking food security, we're talking livelihoods in many developing countries. Those are certainly 2 I would like to see. Before that, we have a lot of work to clear up fisheries and investment facilitation for development. We have development issues, LDC graduation. We've got special and differential treatment discussions that are going on how to enhance that in some of our agreements. So I could go on and on, but I will also give you my remarks so you can really see what the forward-looking agenda. And then at MC14, I would like to see us spend a bit more time on some of these new opportunities, these forward-looking issues. Can ministers have conversations about how we deal with the new industrial policies, the issue of level playing field? How do we solve that? That is a problem that confronts us. Do we look at some of our existing agreements like the subsidies and countervailing measures? Are they still fit for purpose? Can ministers discuss that and see the way forward? Do we look at environmental and issues and climate change? So there's a whole policy space for industrialization. There's an exciting agenda that we also want them to engage in at MC40.
Thank you, DG. I will now take questions online. I see Hannah Monikan. Hannah, you have the floor.
Thanks, Ismaila. Hello, Dr. Ngozi, and congratulations on your reappointment. I wanted to follow up on some of the questions being asked. You've obviously outlined a number of opportunities and priorities you see, but what are your priorities, especially on reform, which I know has been a priority for a lot of members, and where do you see the organization moving forward on some reform issues in your second term?
Thank you very much, Hannah. I think you're right, absolutely on reforms, and there are two sets of issues. We have the reform by doing. Members have termed it that, which members are doing to try and make the WTO bodies and the committees work better. And actually, that's going on pretty well. And I think we should continue that work. Last time, we were able to take a body of changes to MC13 and ministers blessed. So we want to take the remaining work on this there. But beyond that, I think there are other important reforms. I just mentioned one. I'd like us to look at level playing field issues and see how we deal with those. And it may involve looking at agreements that were there before. I've mentioned that. I'd like us to look at a dispute settlement system. I've also talked about that. That's the reform that leaders and ministers constantly come back to, and the biggest one. And work is ongoing. And I think we will, as we move along, the GC chair working together, hope to continue the momentum and get some results so that at MC14, ministers can find something to conclude and bless. So I think this is just examples. We should look at the way we function. We've been doing a lot at the Secretariat, but the overall WTO members could also review that. We need to be fit for 21st century. We need to show that we can make ourselves able to deliver for those things that matter for the world. And that should make for an interesting conversation also and deliverable at the MC14. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. I have now Brendan Murray from Bloomberg. Brendan, you have the floor. Brendan, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I have a question for Ambassador Olberg. What do you say to critics who suggest you fast-track this nomination process to get ahead of the U.S. inauguration day? Could you have waited for the incoming administration so Dr. Ngozi could be vetted by the new U.S. government? And then to Dr. Ngozi, what would you tell Donald Trump in a job interview if he were to vet you, your candidacy? What would you tell him about your views on how your views on global trade differ from his?
So thank you for that question. I will just say that the reappointment process was conducted in full compliance with the procedures for the appointment of a Director General here at the WTO, providing full transparency and inclusiveness along the way. I've consulted with all members on every step of the way. And the decision, as you know, today was taken by consensus, every member in support. So I think there is no reason to say that it has not been a legitimate process. It has been working. We've done what we should do, and we have concluded by consensus a strong signal from the WTO on the ability to make decisions by consensus.
Well, I think the GC chair has spoken, so I think my appointment has been vetted. That's what I have to say. There's a government in place. They participated in the process, so I feel a little odd. So I feel I've been vetted. I think that I look very much forward to working with President Trump, with all the new people who will be appointed. I'm eager for it because I think that the U.S. What I want to say is threefold. One, the WTO and its rules underpin 75 to 80% of global goods trade. And I don't think anyone has challenged that. I think there's a general recognition that the organization needs to be supported and to keep going, because this is a hefty amount of world trade that is in question. So I'm sure that we would all agree on that. I think the second point is that WTO is much more than even that. On the trade front, we've got two agreements that underpin product safety and human safety. There's the technical barriers to trade agreement and the sanitary and phytosanitary agreement. I know this sounds very techy and not talked about, but the point is, here is a place where people, businesses can trade with confidence because they know that there's the agreements governing the standards of the products that go all over the world, and it rests here, and the safety. So I think we would see eye to eye on that, because I don't think there's any leader who would not want to have this safeguard. And it's a very important part of the WTO that is not often spoken about, but is vital. I know the United States values it. This is the home of intellectual property agreement. I think 22% of new patent applications is by the US, is by far the most innovative nation in the world in that sense. And here we have the agreement that governs the protection of intellectual property for these patents. So I'm sure we would see eye to that. So in summary, I think there are things at the WTO, their attributes, their deliverables, their agreements on which we know that the world agrees these are vital to the purpose for which this organization was created. And we would certainly all agree on that. And I look forward to having these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. I think we'll have time for one more question before we close. I will give it to somebody in the room. Otherwise, I have Maya Plans online. Maya, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Ismaila, for taking my question. Congratulations, Dr. Ngozi. What are the challenges to accommodate the influence of the US on the organization? And with so many trade disputes on the horizon, which suggests that the WTO is needed more than ever, how are the resources available sufficient for the increase in operational costs? And what is the role of the private sector in financing the organization's outreach and external relations? And also, if you could comment on the AI governance division that will be created in the coming year. Thank you.
Ismaila took 3 or 4 questions in one, but thank you very much for the questions. Look, I think that one of the important things about the WTO is it's one of the few multilateral organizations where each member has an equal voice. each member. So whether it's the voice of the United States or the voice of Mali or the voice of Samoa, they're all equal. And we're quite proud of that. Is it easy to work or run an organization where everyone has an equal voice? The answer is no, but we hope that members will use their equal voices to be able to dialogue with each other. Of course, we see emerging trade disputes that are coming in, and members are asking for consultations on these various disputes, but that's what's good at the WTO. We offer a forum and a venue where members can actually bring their differences and their disputes and be able to deal with them in a more cooperative manner. And we're seeing them using this system. So this is what we would encourage members. Whatever the case may be, whatever policy there is, we would want them to come to dialogue about it, to not react immediately, but to use the tools and the fora provided by the WTO to talk to each other first and try to solve the problems rather than come up with another policy immediately. So yes, there may be increasing disputes, but yes, we have the forum to handle them. And I think the US is using this as well as any other member. So that's the way that I think, I hope things will continue in that direction. With respect to costs, I think that our last budget, the membership we are very grateful because they were able to offer us the first increase in the budget in 12 years. And we have said we will work within that available budget. So operationally, there may be stresses, but I think we'll be okay. We'll be able to manage and juggle. With respect to private sector financing, we don't really have that. This is not something that at the WTO Secretariat it's not one of our sources. So just to make clear that that's the case. And on AI governance, the new unit we have created is quite exciting. We're excited about it. We hope it will be up and running. I think we're about to conclude the recruitment of the head of the unit in the next couple of weeks. And you saw our report, Trading with Intelligence. We believe that AI will have a very important role to play with trade in 3 ways: reducing trade costs, increasing the productivity of tradables, and actually maybe changing the nature and creating new tradable goods and services as we go forward, just to cite 3 examples. So we are quite excited. And that's why we have this unit to help us move with the process as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. I think we are getting close to the end of our press briefing, so I'll give a chance. Yes.
I thought we were close.
I'll give the chance to the chair to say a few words before we close.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll keep it short. I think you said excitement, DG. We're all excited today here at the WTO. We are so pleased that we came together the way we did and reappointed you for another term. We feel that we now are really fit for the next 4.5 years, your next term. It's a strong signal. It's based on the performance you did in the past, and it's based on the visions you outlined so clearly for us yesterday for the years to come. So there is excitement today at the WTO. It's a good day for the WTO today. So we look forward to working together in the future.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, DG, and thank you, colleagues, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at the next GC meeting in 2 weeks' time.